Of making a game in Corona SDK. This is the 18th episode, which goes to show that it takes a lot of time to make a game, and we're just plugging along, making it happen. This is part of what we've got thus far, and if you haven't been following along, you should go check out TylerMakes.com, which I can bring up for you here, to check out there's a link to YouTube where you can find every part of this series, and you can get links to the GitHub where the code lives, so you can get all the code for free. So if you're new, please do check that out. That would be a good idea. If you're not new, welcome to the 18th episode. We are going to, here we go. That's what I want to show you. This is TylerMakes. You can actually watch the stream on here when I am streaming, or at least you should be able to. Anyway, we are, where do we leave off? Let me see. I might have to check that out. Looks like it might not be working anymore. Sorry. Okay, so where do we leave off? We left off doing navigation. We now have it where you can navigate to all the different places that we save. And you can go back, and you can go back to your garden where I've planted some stuff, and you can go and harvest all those things still. And then you can go and plant some more, and they take a little while to harvest. Then you can go see your grandma and brother, and then you can come back, see what's happening. And yeah, that's what we got. So we've also did the animation so that everything's kind of smoother. So today we are going to work on some other things. Let's see what we got here. I'm not going to get to loading image assets yet, because I'd have to create the image assets. What we want to do is update so yeah, we're probably going to do this. We're going to make the forest, like here, we're out here in the forest, and we currently have this list of all of our stuff. We're going to change this. So the way this game is going to work is that once you go into the forest, you collect stuff, and it's kind of a push your luck thing. You can keep going deeper and deeper into the forest, and trying to find new stuff. But eventually you might get caught by one of these enemies and lose everything. So you have to kind of venture in at your own risk. So we need to make that a thing that you can do. Also, the cat here wants to say hi. She very much wants to stream making a video game, but she can't. So I'm gonna go put her away real quick, and then we'll keep going. Okay, sorry about that. Cats are great, except when they want to climb on your keyboard. Okay, so let's see. We want to take away this to actually show what you have as your items in the forest. We want to make it so that there are items that are in the forest that you can actually pick up just by stepping on them, and then a variety of other things. Like I actually want to go through here and make different enemy AI. Also make it so that enemies can't walk over each other and walk over you. That would be good. And yeah, so we'll see what happens. Okay, let's get to it. So first, let's go check out our built map. Are we actually, do we have any, we have the concept of seeds. These red ones are seeds. Okay. Now there's something We're probably actually going to want to have different seeds because they'll be technically like different bushes or something. So we're just going to use this one set of seeds for now, but we're probably going to split it up into different things. Instead of doing what we did with navigation where it's just one type of navigation, but if you click on it, we indicate which navigation it is. And with seeds, they're all going to be individual seeds that actually give you seeds. They'll just be marked as like seed type. Cool. So let's go take a look at some of that stuff. I want to see something. Bulb game. Nope, that's not what we want. Look at the game settings. Oh yeah, these is where the forest tiles are defined, is in our bulb builder settings. And the other stuff, like our seeds and plants and stuff, are actually in game settings, which is fine. Okay, so we have seeds. Seeds need to be walkable. Ooh, what did I do wrong there? Ooh, missed a comma. Okay, so now we go play. We can go walk over the seeds, which is good. Okay, and when you walk over seeds, we want to give you them. Okay, so let's go see what's going on in our forest. Now we have like an evaluate location, which if you'll recall is how we move from one place to the next. You just walk onto a tile and then it triggers that movement. What we want to do now, oh yes, it's not bulb game, it's bulb forest. It should be in here, where we evaluate the tile that the player is currently on. Let's get rid of some of these windows we don't need open. Oh, no. I get rid of bulb game. Okay, cool. Okay. Might be in bulb forest map. I didn't think so. Actually, let's do Apple R and see what methods we have. Load map, get enemies, place tile, get player, start location, trigger location. That's what we're looking for. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay, so what we want to do here is make it so that I'm not exactly sure what the thing is that we're looking for there, but we're going to make a different kind of event. We're going to just call this tile event, because it's not always a location event that's happening, which is fine. It's just a local variable. It's not a big deal. Okay, so we're gonna put seed type, just because, and actually I think I've been using camel case, because it looks like type is keyword, and we don't want to use keywords because they have meaning in the code. Just like you wouldn't want to name one of these variables else if or if or something. Okay, so seeds, we're going to go ahead and these are going to have to be cross-referenced with game settings. the different types of seeds, we're going to use these tile names. So let's go ahead and say strawberry. Let's start with that. Okay. Now, how do we know what type of seed? Okay, so interesting. Huh. I want to go see what our forest tile is. Okay. Custom data. Okay, here we go. We're going to follow a similar pattern for the seed. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. What it does is custom seed, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what I'm looking at is how do we get from here to there? Because this is doing tile.tileinfo.nav. This actually, I think, should just be tile.nav. We're not going to use tileinfo.nav. I believe. Let's go check out our builder real quick. Placing a tile. It's a nav tile. Yeah, that still allows us to enter in a location. Okay, just making sure. Trying to remember our process for saving. One of the problems is that I do not look at this code outside of when I'm streaming it, which is once a week. So sometimes I have to remember what the heck is going on. So what we have is our seed type, which is gonna normally come from, oh yeah, that's what I want. Tile.seed. And this is going to be if tile.seed. So now what I want to know is that when I place a tile, this is its tile info. So place tile, selected tile. Let me go to our forest map. Well, not our forest map, our builder map. Builder map. Go to place tile. Follow forest tile. Yep. Tile info and then custom data. Interesting. So when we place it here, we're placing it with no custom data. Very curious. So we create a forest tile with the tile info and then custom data. Okay, so that's a forest tile. We create it with tile info, custom data. Now, that means it doesn't have that when we create it. However, this pop-up where we set the name for nav location, we do set nav location. If we look at set nav location, forest map, set nav location. Okay, yeah, we're gonna change this back a little bit. Well, no, all right, good. Well, yeah, we're gonna go undo. Just want to copy this line, make sure that we preserve it. Now, so the reason is that we have a version of nav where you've put down a nav tile, but you haven't indicated where it goes. So let's say that we did this, and we just put down a nav tile here. It doesn't go anywhere. Now, if I go here, of course, that's a thing. You can go back and forth. Oh yeah, it reloads the thing, so we lose it. But anyway, that nav tile doesn't have a name or a location that it's going to, which is null, which is actually probably why I start on it here, because currently the place that you came from is null, it doesn't exist, and this doesn't have a location, so it's null, so it thinks that we came from there, because the null and null match. So that's a version of navigate, but we shouldn't ever actually see that normally. What I want to do, let's see, what if we did this? Now let's try that same test. It's still there. Doesn't do anything though. It's probably just fine. Just want to make sure that we're not breaking anything, which I don't think that we are by doing that. Yeah, that should be fine. Anyway, so we want to get seed. Now, the thing is, we actually want this to be the custom data that's sent. So, when we go to place our data, we're going to do selected tile. Now, selected tile is this data. So, we're going to want custom data from that. Now, yeah, why don't we just do that? Just trying to think if there's any reason we would not want to do this, but I think we'll be good if we just went like this. Custom data. Oh, this is interesting. See, we had nav here. Yeah, see, I think we should do this. We should go custom data. We're going to put in these new things like this. Okay, so the idea being that that we can actually just pass along the custom data and not have to have any of this nonsense that we have right now, where it's a part of the tile info. Like the tile info itself, that's what I want to get rid of. Let's go like this, tileinfo.nav. Okay, perfect. I want to get rid of tileinfo.nav. What I want to do is when you place a tile, I want to do selected tile.custom data. And I'm just trying to think if that'll interfere with anything later. I don't think it will. So that'll place the data with custom tile data. Okay, let's save that. Let's try this. Okay, this is gonna do a tile event, trigger it. That's gonna hit back up in our forest, which has got to be looking for navigate. Let's do. Interesting. Okay, so I actually think I want to change this to not be navigate. Let's have it be trigger tile. That's not how you spell tile. Okay, we're gonna call this trigger tile. We're gonna go here. Does this have the equivalent of navigate? No, it doesn't. Oh yeah, because it goes straight to our forest anyway. Okay. Okay, so this is not going to be navigate. So it needs to be this. I call it subtype. Apologize, I don't remember the key to pause while I sneeze. Okay, cool. So now we've got this. It's a subtype. So now we gotta update this. So this does not have trigger tile already taken. Good. That would be bad. Okay, so instead of navigate, this is trigger tile. And then interesting. Let's do this. We're gonna go trigger tile. If event dot subtype equals nav, then self navigate event, else if event dot subtype equals seeds, then self gather seeds, else print unknown tile subtype triggered. Okay, and let's go ahead and add this function for our gather seeds. And there we go. Let's see if that actually works with what we have here. Nope, it's seed type. Duh. There we go. Now, subtype is navigate, so that should be navigate. Okay, cool. Let's go see if this works. Oh, we navigated. I think is working. Nope, nothing's happening here. Okay, that's good to know. Okay. do we have? Gather seeds, blah, blah, blah. Then we update, select tool. Place tile. Yeah, it's still gonna do trigger location. Interesting. I want to see something. Let's go to this version of the forest and just make sure that navigation is still working normally here. Okay, that's good. So we haven't messed up anything with navigation. But what we're not seeing is that these seeds should be triggered. So, subtype. Okay. Let's just make sure that events are going off whenever we're doing any of the stuff. Okay, so yeah, something, navigate, great. Okay, so it's just flat not triggering, which makes me think that whatever calls trigger location is not calling it. And I don't remember what does trigger. Oh, trigger location. Here you go. Well, that's fascinating. Let's see. Oh, yes. Yeah, it's like a bunch of nils, and then we get to something. Huh, these are still nils. Okay, so that means that when we build those tiles, they're not getting their custom data. Oh, yes, so let's make sure that we are saving that correctly. Is that part of the save data? Seed equals self seed. Ah, that's part of it. Okay, so custom data is stuff that we set after the fact. That's a little different than things that we don't set after the fact. So the whole point of custom data is that there's certain data that has to be saved with the tile when we save the map. For instance, the navigation location, so that when we save out this map, we have to know where this tile goes, because when we load the map, we're going to know that this is a navigation tile, but we're not going to know where it's supposed to be loaded from. Now, there's two ways we can do this. We can either put down generic seeds and then click on them again and give them a type. The same way if we have nav, we put it down and then we click on it again to tell it where we're going to nav to. But I don't think we want to do that. I think we actually just want to have different seeds, because the different seeds are going to have different looks, and maybe they have different effects. Maybe they even like trigger events or anything. But like probably the biggest problem is that like when I'm placing seeds, I do not want to have to place them all and then click and tell it which seed it is, click and tell it which seed it is again and again and again. So we are going to make that not a part of custom data. It's just going to be a thing that is on the seeds themselves. So what effect does that have? That the first effect is that that is not part of our custom nav data. So we can get rid of it there. and it's not going to be here. Oops. It's going to be just in the tile info. Ooh, that's not what we want. Tile info dot seed. Or do we just want to get it off the tile info? How about we just get it off the tile info, and then we don't have to worry about it here at all. So then what we do is in our forest map, this does need to be tile info. And this, of course, as well. So now it'll actually be generated, yes, gathering seeds, strawberries. Okay, let's get rid of this unnecessary print. Okay, so now we can gather strawberries. So what we need to do here is now increment the player's inventory. So what we want is for the player, we want a temporary inventory for when they're in the forest. Okay. Okay, so the item bag, all right, we're gonna do temporary items. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, this was just giving us a, we've currently got it still is that the player gets a random set of inventory of tiles. We're gonna wanna go, or of seeds, we're gonna wanna go through and change that to actually have different sets of seeds later. We'll get to that eventually. But for now, we've got temporary items. And it's an empty bag. So with this bag, we're gonna need to clear it out. There's a lot of stuff we're gonna have to do. So let's get cracking. So first, let's see. Let's do this. Temporary. Ooh, we used type there. We shouldn't have used type. That's fine. We will not worry about it for right now. Okay, so if it's temporary, that means it goes into our temporary bag. Otherwise, it does this stuff. Goes into this item bag. Then it sends this event. And yeah, dispatch item used event. Okay, great. What we want here because these are going to largely be very similar. I'm curious. Yeah, we're just gonna go like this. Temporary equals temporary. And this is gonna be our temporary inventory, or temporary items. Items type dot inventory. What is? Oh, it's got a name and an inventory. Okay. That's fine. Okay, so now we're down here. We're gonna give it the temporary items inventory. Let's just do this actually. We're gonna put this guy down here. This way we can keep from having any copy and paste code, or as much copy and paste code. Of course, we have some. It's not a great thing. So we try to discourage doing it. Here, I'm just going to move this here. I'm going to move this one out of here. I'm going to move temporary down into here. Look, isn't this great? I can just move code around, don't have to type anything. It's wonderful. Temporary items, okay. And we need to make new value. We'll just put -1. If that ever gets set, then that's a problem. Okay, and so now we want to update the inventory. Great. So that's how we deduct items from the temporary items, add them to the item bag, and we need new value down here. Great. There we go. Now we're going to do the same thing for the add item. We're going to take this and we're going to paste it over this. And since it should just be this plus num, everything else is the same. Value, temporary, blah, blah, blah. Added, deducted. We could actually combine this add and deduct function, which actually might eventually be good, but I'm not going to do it just yet. Because we could easily have deduct just call add item with a negative num, because it would do positive and then subtract, but we also want to have this status. We'd have to add that in there. The idea being that if we combined it, it would make it easier so that the code is all in one place, but also, so that when we make these changes, we don't have to make it twice like we've been doing right here, which is good, but it means that we have to change some things to make sure that all these values are correct when we do that. So we're not going to do that just yet. Okay, so this allows us to add items and deduct items from our temporary inventory. We might eventually want to have multiple other types of inventories. That would be interesting, but we're not doing that just yet. That is not in our game plan. But it's good to note the things that you can do in case you ever want to do them. Oh, we do not have items from here. Interesting. Oh, that's fine. Where was I looking? Gather seeds. Here we go. Gather seeds. All right, self dot. Sorry, I have a habit of just jamming on the keys when I'm thinking. Add item event dot seed type. We're gonna just go with 1 for now. Temporary is going to be true. Now, here's the thing. That's going to work great. But what's not going to work great is this. Temporary items type. What we want to do here is make sure that this exists. So If it does not exist, it has a name, which is going to be the type, and an inventory, which is going to be 0. Okay, there we go. Perfect. This makes it so that we don't try to add to something that doesn't exist, or deduct from something that doesn't exist. I also am noticing that we don't have any checks on here to make sure that we do not go negative, but that's not a big deal. We're not going to worry about that just yet. So the interesting thing is that we don't currently have any way of seeing what our inventory is. This sends out an item used event or item updated. And I believe that triggers the inventory. No, what is it called? UI? Did I call it UI? That wouldn't be good. Item updated. I did call it UI. Like store UI should have a better name. And then it updates the inventory with the new value. And let's see what updated inventory does. I want to see something. Bulb UI. Ah, so we don't have like a forest UI, do we? No, we don't. Okay. That's good to know. Okay. Interesting. So we're going to update our inventory value. Let's just see what's going on. Right now, I believe we'll have whatever our inventory is. Ooh. Ball player 135. I probably used... Oh, yes. Always forgetting commas. So I believe what'll happen is that our inventory will be full of whatever random stuff we have. However, once we get our first strawberry, should go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Okay, that's great. Now it occurs to me that, of course, our strawberries should be technically a seed tile that is just on top of whatever kind of ground tile. So it's actually the second layer of stuff, which is interesting because it's going to be something walkable, whatever is there, once you walk off of it. But we could allow it to be different types. For now, I think it's going to be that when you walk over a strawberry, we're going to turn that tile space to just dirt, and then you can just walk on it and it'll be fine. Yeah, we're going to do that. Even though we've set it up, we have our map set up for layers, and the idea being that those layers are things like, the first layer is like the dirt, the lava, whatever, the water that you're walking on. The second layer is things like seeds and stuff. And the third layer is I don't know what. We are set up to do that. We're not going to use that just yet. In fact, I don't know if we'll ever use that. We may decide that the layers were useless and we didn't need them. So for now, why don't we just set that up so that it happens. Forest trigger tile, gather seeds, self player add item, blah blah blah. And do we get the location when we trigger tile? Because we certainly should. Trigger location. Now you'll notice what I'm about to do. Huh. Look at that. We don't... I want to add this here, of course, so that we know where this location is in case we need to know for some reason. And now what I'm about to do is I'm trying to make this dirt happen. So we're going to trigger in the map, we're going to trigger location. It's going to say, hey, here's a seed here. It's going to go back up to the forest, which is going to gather seeds. And then that is going to tell the map, I think basically place tile dirt, right? And you might be wondering, why would the map not just do that itself? Why wouldn't it just do it here? It would trigger the event, say, hey, there's seed here. Also, we're going to now turn it to dirt. That's because we want the game logic to live here. And we might have something where, say, you have a full inventory and you can't carry anymore. And if you can't carry anymore, then we would check and figure that out here. And then the result is that we would not actually place the dirt and we wouldn't add the item. We would just ignore it because you don't have the inventory for it. So that's why it makes this kind of round trip. It takes a circuitous route just to place... or I mean, just to gather seeds. That, hopefully that makes sense. But what I want to know is we're gonna place tile info. Interesting. I'm gonna go look at load map from data. I thought there was something in here where we, all else fails, place dirt. Do we not do that in here? I guess we don't. Okay, so we gotta get tile info. Place tile, new tile. Custom data. Yeah, see, we're gonna have to get the basic tile. And then we're gonna have to get custom data, but there's not gonna be any custom data. I don't think we have to worry about that. Where was I? Here I am. Let's do this so we know what the heck this is that we're getting. And we're gonna do tile info. We're just gonna leave the last value null because we don't need it. Let's go look at bulb builder settings. Yeah, this is where all of our tiles work. So we're gonna use this dirt type. Get item by name. No, we're just gonna do dirt type. That's what we want. There's probably more stuff that you'd want to do around this if you had different tile sets and everything. This game, as far as I have decided thus far, this forest is just going to be like the dark forest, and it's not going to have tons of variety as far as like tile types and stuff. Oh, there we go. Hey, started picking up tiles. Look at that. And they all turned to dirt. That looks pretty cool. Let's go pick some strawberries. Ooh, you'll notice that when we came here, interestingly enough, like these come back, and oh, that's a really good point. these come back, and our inventory gets reset. So that is something we're going to have to tackle. We're also going to actually have to make this be like a real inventory. I also need, so this makes me think that I need to think about what happens when you leave the scene and come back. I will be right back real quick. Hold that thought. Okay, so one of the things that I have strayed from a little bit is that this was eventually supposed to be kind of procedurally generated. Like, you'd go into this forest, and who knows what you'd see. So the interesting thing is that we're building maps right now for the forest, but eventually that's mostly going to be generated. And where this comes into play is that if it's a generated map, it's a little bit different because the idea being that, like, in this, currently we're loading a map, and let's say you pick up a bunch of seeds. Well, now we need to save that data that you've picked up all those seeds and not have it. With the procedural map, we need to do the same thing, but it's a little bit different in that we can kind of just keep in memory, here's all the locations you've been to, here's which ones have seeds. Like, basically, once you enter a map location, we can just generate seeds, and then, or I mean, we generate the whole map. So that's something that I want to think about, is that the way this is actually going to eventually function is you're going to be here. As soon as you go to here, we're going to come up with a unique name for this tile and give it a bunch of stuff. And then we're going to, when we generate that whole map, we're going to keep all that stuff there and then just get rid of it as you pick it up. And we're just going to keep track of that map until you eventually go back home. Now, there is a problem where we could potentially get to the point where we're storing too much data in memory for all these different locations. But I'm not entirely sure how I want to tackle that. One of the things that I might do is kind of an in-game reason, where if it fails, it just puts you back at the garden as if you died, or like it says that you got exhausted or something. Maybe you come back with half your items instead of all your items that you had. So that is definitely something that we want to take into account. But I'm not entirely sure how I want to do it right now, which is a little problematic. Okay, so we have basic seeds that are filling up our inventory. So I think what I want to do is, one, I want to make our forest inventory, which is a temporary inventory. And then I want to make our inventory an actual real inventory that gets saved that we can, you know, I'll have to add in a button or something to allow us to reset it. Or we can actually just delete the files and stuff. So we have a starter inventory, and then as things go, it actually saves and it has a real inventory. So let's go do that. So here we're in the forest. No, is inventory or UI. Did I call it UI? UI is really hard to search. That's annoying. Okay, so that, of course, okay. So we want basically the same thing, except that when you click items, it does nothing. That's one thing. Might have some slightly different items you'll be able to collect in your inventory when you are out. Just trying to think of like how we're going to show this and how we're actually going to indicate it in the game when you're actually playing. So I'm imagining it as it's slightly different. You have no items when you go out. So let's take a look at how we're handling inventory here. So we're given a player. We go through the player's item bag, and we create all these store items. The item bag, its name, blah, blah, blah. Okay. This updates the inventory. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and make a forest UI. Because right now, I just don't know how much these two things are gonna diverge. And I basically don't want to destroy one to accommodate the other. Again, this is a place where normally I would use some inheritance and composition to make this work. But that's a little bit annoying in Lua. So we're just going to build it the simple way. But I should say that if you are a programmer and want to be a great programmer, you should absolutely figure out the right way to construct things. A way that is versatile and manipulatable and makes sense. It's understandable, etc. So that you get in the habit of writing quality code. That is the best way to be a great programmer, is to essentially always be writing good quality code and not taking shortcuts. Eventually, you will get very good at doing things the right way, and you won't have issues like we are, of course, having here, where it would be slow to, figure out the right way and everything. Try to do all that up front. Anyway, all this to say, I'm not necessarily the world's best programmer, and I'm more concerned with getting a game done. And if you are like me, and your goal is to just get a game done, then you should really kind of eliminate excuses. That being said, don't totally skimp on your code, because you can easily screw yourself with that. Oh, this is interesting. So, all this is doing is getting items from the inventory. Actually, so this is interesting. I'm going to try doing this without this. Here I go on this tirade about how I should do it the right way. And I think I just convinced myself that we should do it the right way. Let's not save this, because I'm just looking at it and it's really looking at, hey look, it's just the item bag. It's this one place that we use it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say if not temporary. So we're going to have this be essentially the same as the same as the player or whatever the. I'm trying to think. Where do we have temporary? Sorry, I'm trying to write code and think at the same time. That doesn't always work out. Okay, so if this is temporary, so which means we're in the forest. This is a temporary inventory. Then what it's gonna do is it is going to create this using the temporary instead of, well, let's go like this. The reason I'm doing this is because I think that we're going to recall this on occasion, and you might actually have stuff in your temporary thing. If you don't, then it doesn't have an effect because it's going to iterate through here. And if you do, then it's good. Like, it'll be important. Okay, so we're going to go call it item holder. And that's going to be this player bag. If it's temporary, then it's going to be temporary items. Okay. Oop. Item holder is going to be that. We're going to iterate through our item holder. Da-da-da. Okay. Okay, item bag. This needs to be item holder. Nope, that's not it. Item holder. Great. Now, and the interesting thing is our item updated doesn't actually need to use a bag because we just received from the player this updated inventory and it tells it the new value. And that updated inventory in the player knows whether or not it's being updated through the temporary means or not. So it should just give it the correct value. If I had to gaze in my crystal ball, though, I'd be willing to bet that some point in the future that's going to be broken, but whatever. Also, now we have to do something a little different. So in the player, we go through and for every type of item, and that really starts from here, the player gets every item in its item bag. So this, of course, is assuming that every item that could possibly be in your item bag is in the inventory. But that is not the case. So what we need to do is when we get item updated, interesting. Oh yeah, we update items in our bulb store items. That's interesting. we're treating this as if it's one event. Oh, I guess because we don't even care if it's updated or not. That's funny. So we could actually streamline this whole thing, because currently nobody cares if you're adding or deducting. They just want to know what the item is and what the new value is. But that's fine. That's whatever. Okay, so what we need is this. We need to be able to do this. Items and dot type. If there is not an item, then we need to create it. For right now, I'm going to make it so that if you lose an item and you go to 0, we don't remove it from the inventory. We just show 0. The idea being that I think Farmville may work like this, but the idea being that, like, if I find out that blueberries exist, then they will be in my inventory list. Now, I could go down to 0 blueberries, but I'll still know that they exist. However, if I've never seen oranges, then I won't even know that they're a possibility until I get them, and then they'll need to be added to this list. And that'll be that whole thing of, like, you find something new. You don't want to know what it was ahead of time. So we only need to add it if it exists. We're not going to get rid of these buttons. So let's see. We need this to work. Now, what is I? I is the total items. I have an idea. We're going to do this. Local I equals the length of self.items. Oh, will length work? It probably won't, because that is not an array. It is a dictionary. All right. We're going to do this. So we can reuse that code. Items k equals old store item. We're going to put this, again, trying to be better programmers. And we're going to make this a function called add store item. And we're going to take this whole chunk of code. Oh, not that incrementing. Ah, come on, stop. We're going to take this and we're going to put it all in here. And we're going to try to make it all nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here. We're actually going to call this we're going to call it total store unique store items. Long name, but hopefully it's, you know, descriptive enough. So we don't ever wonder what the heck that variable is. Okay, so unique store items. And at the end of this, we're gonna go like that. And that. So great, look, we've incremented our unique store items. All the rest of the stuff happens in this code. So we can actually get rid of it here. Just trying to make sure that I did not miscopy something. So what we want here is this. Add store item. And we want that to happen down here as well. Now, we're incrementing store items, so let's see if we go I. Okay, Okay, all those other i's are not this I. This is the I that we care about. So if that's the case, and it's just that one, we can change this to use our cool value. Great. So let's go look through here. So self.y we've got, the unique store items we've got, item height we've got. Okay, length of tools. This needs to be self tools. And that means that tools, this needs to be above the items because the items rely on that length. Yeah, because we're not going to have access to tools within this function unless we have it at this level. Okay, so now item, got game settings, get item by name K. What is K? Okay, here we go. We're going to put K. And that's going to be name. Now let's see where we just have these two locations where we use K. Great. We are going to replace each of these with the word name. Okay, now let's go through here. New bulb store item. 0. Let's see, we got Y. That comes from here. Width and height, we have item. We've got item holder. Oh, interesting. Now, what we're getting from this is the inventory of the item. Now, when we do this down here, oh wait, let's make sure that we add our variables here. So this is going to be event dot, what is it, name? Player. Deduct item, type, name. Yeah, it's going to be type. Oh, yeah, duh. Yes, event.type. Okay. Now, what we need from this is the inventory value. So, we're actually going to cut that out. We're going to go up here. Put item holder, item tile name. Oh, you know what's funny? This is actually equal to the V here. So we don't actually need to do that. We should just be able to do v.inventory. And we will go like this, inventory. So we will change this to be inventory. And when we pass this store item, we need to go whatever that new value is, which is new value. And it's the new inventory value. Great. And then we have self, which we have. Create scroll view. Store item, create scroll. Interesting. And items name equals. So this, of course, needs to be self.items. So that's interesting. When do we actually create our local items? Oh, here we go. That's no good. This should be local. This should be local. And we're just going to bring these down to here. They're actually used. Except with this one, because we have to, we're going to just do self.items equals that. We're going to get rid of this because we don't need to do it. And this is going to set self.items We're actually probably going to want to do the same thing with tools too. Let's see. Oh, there's so many things. Okay. We're going to change all these to use self.tools. And we can get rid of this line. And we can get rid of this. And we'll just set self.tools, right? Great. Perfect. Okay. I think things are going well now. Okay, items. All right, let's see if that kind of sort of works. Oop, I moved this window. Try to keep it over here so I can easily click over to this. Just want to go look here. Okay, so we have blueberries. We can place a bunch. Avocados. Lemons. Now we can go shovel them. We can still pick them up. Everything's great there. That's good. Now let's go out into the wilderness. Okay, so this is interesting. This is still even in existence. What happens if we get strawberries? All right. They go away. We go to 4 strawberries. We come here and we have a random number again. Great. We go back. And we go back here. It's pretty much just random. Oh, that's interesting. So that's a different value. But these aren't changing. So this looks like our item bag, but it looks like these are randomized as soon as we step out here. When you come back, these are still what they were. Let's harvest a couple avocados to verify. And this looks pretty randomized. And then we go back. Yeah, okay, so not what I would expect. So in the forest, we're currently getting randomized junk. And when we go back to here, it's staying stable. Okay, so part of that is good. Part of that is not good. So let's go take a look at the player. The player. Okay, so when we're in the forest, we are setting temporary. Oh, this needs to be true. Okay, let's see what happens there. Okay. We've got 24 lemons. We're gonna make that 0. Okay, great. So we have 2, 0, 12. Now we're out here, got a bunch of random stuff. We're gonna go pick up those strawberries. Click over here. It's a random number. It's a random number. Random number. If we go back here, these values are the same. Interesting. So let's go take a look at this. Let's see. So what I want is you to have nothing. You should have nothing, because the player's temporary items should be empty. See, it's empty. We don't actually add anything to it just yet. So why are we seeing anything? Oh, that's not good. That's not where we want to go. Okay, here we are. So we're here. Now we're here. Let's find out if we're constructing the UI when we think we're constructing the UI. Maybe we're not reconstructing the UI, and therefore we don't have it. Okay, so we've constructed the UI, constructed again, constructed again. Okay, so now we're in the forest, and we just constructed it, and it was not treated as temporary. I know exactly why. Because this is just doing some random temporary down here. This needs to be self.temporary. And that temporary equals temporary. Okay, great. Maybe that works. Hey, there we go. Now it's temporary. Now it's empty. Now, can we pick these up? Oh, look at that. We picked them up. That's great. Now we've got 4. But now it's constructed temporary. We go back and we can go get some random stuff. Boo. Although this seems to be mostly working correct. Okay, so we have 1 lemon. Let's get down to like 2. We're gonna make this easy to tell. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if we're out here, we go get some strawberries. It's great. We got 3 strawberries. We go back. Strawberries are at 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, let's make this 5. Well, that's annoying. Okay, there we go. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now we go back here. Got nothing. Pick up some strawberries. Got 4 strawberries. Come back. Okay, 5. Okay, so that's great. Those are working correctly. The only problem we have is that we go run around out here and none of this saves. How annoying is that? So now we need to figure out why the player's inventory remains empty when it shouldn't be empty. So we go pick stuff up. Deduct item. Look at this. So it's going into our temporary inventory, right? Well, let's go look at that item. We create a space for it. Oh, I think I know. It may be that we're reconstructing the player, and the player, every time we reconstruct the player, well, when we reconstruct the player, temporary items is going to be empty, but item bag is going to be randomized. So that doesn't seem right. Ooh, I just noticed, I don't know if you can tell on the feed, but there was a combination of tabs and spaces. I like to use tabs. I really hate spaces. Other people will, of course, disagree. But anyway, just want to save that. Make that fix. Anyway, let's see. That does a minus num. New value, temporary items. I just don't get it. Now here we make item holder self temporary items. Now do we screw that up somehow? We don't zero out its inventory, do we? Nope. Huh. What it might be is that, are we constructing it wrong when we create a new one? Where are we? Add item. Temporary items type equals that. I just want to see when we're actually constructing that. Okay. Come here. Yeah, we're adding a new temporary items type. Well, that is interesting. So it's going to construct it again, but it's supposed to get it from the player. Now, why does it not get... Why in this case does it not get the player's inventory? Huh. Let's do something a little interesting. Let's get rid of this. Okay, what I want to do is this. We're about to create the UI. I actually want to print all the items that we have. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, we're gonna print the key and value of all the items, but they should be exactly what we've seen, which is 0. Yeah, we're not even, I mean, nothing's happening because this is so weird. They're supposed to be temporary, but not that temporary. No, I'm missing something simple here. But this is what happens. Hey, I've got new stuff. That's great. Still no items, though. I move to the next screen. I do also want to make the back of the UI not white. Oh, but I think, Oh, do I have to, can I do the scroll view color? Let's go find out. And let's go check that out. At least that's something simple. Kind of curious if you can actually do an image. I guess you can do an image. Cool. We're just going to take this. This is good enough. Something that is not default white. Okay, so this is fascinating. We need to figure out why the player has no temporary items. This is regenerating a player, but why would it be that every time we go to a different forest map? Oh, you know what? Probably set it so that the forest map reconstructs, but if we go to, for instance, if we go to bulb game, we're probably not losing bulb game. It's not even reconstructing. Well, that's weird, because it is reconstructing the UI, right? It has to be, because it was saying constructing UI when we left and when we came back. And if it's reconstructing the UI, it's reconstructing the player. And if it's reconstructing the player, then it should be having random items. The item bag. So how the heck is that happening? Here, we're gonna do this. Okay. Yeah, see, we're constructing the player, and we're constructing the UI. So I put down all this stuff. I go here, constructing player, constructing UI. It's the temporary UI. Then I go back. Ah, okay. See, so it didn't construct the player. If I go here, it does. It constructs the player again. Okay, that's good to know. So there's a couple things here. One, it's annoying that we're reconstructing the player. We don't really want to reconstruct the player ever. The UI is totally fine, but there is only one player and should only be one player. So my thoughts are, I think for right now, we are going to make it only construct one player. Interesting though, because we passed the player the map here. And the player is going to have to know the map dependent on where it is. Okay, yeah, so this is one of those things where this is what I would normally keep in like game data. So the temporary items in the item bag, it's fine if we reconstruct the player as long as we don't reconstruct their items. So what we want to do is we want to move that into like our saved game data. So that is what we are going to do, but we're going to save that for next time. Because there's a whole lot that's going to come with that. So right now we've got something that looks a little weird, doesn't work quite as we'd expect, but it does work. You can come collect new items. The only problem is basically that they're not being saved. These are, because we're not reconstructing it, they're the same, but if we were to say refresh, all of those items that were there are going to be different, totally different numbers. In fact, they're actually different if we go back and forth between here. Oh, that's interesting. They're actually stable values, they're just not the same values. Yeah, so that's totally not okay. These values should be the same as these values. because this is just your inventory. And the only difference between this screen is that you have certain tools. If you come here, you might have different tools that you can use, or you might use these berries, etc., in different ways. So we need to actually rig this all up to the saving stuff. So that's what we're going to tackle next week. We're going to put that at the top of our list. Save player items. Construct inventory. Player object from that. Cool. So that'll be a really good big topic to tackle next week. This one was a pretty low-key, simple one. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you gained something from it. If so, please like, subscribe, share, tweet it, do whatever, get involved, contact me, tell me about the games you're making, tell me about what stuff you'd like to learn about, and I can show you on here. And just make games. Have fun. Make creative stuff. Do something interesting. Ooh, I screwed this up. Well, I didn't really screw it up. Like, that's what it's supposed to be like. But anyway, yeah, go out there, make games, do fun stuff, and have a great week. See you later.